Hello, everyone. Watching Let's Talk About Prepping. I'm Tyler, your host, and in this video, you'll just have to put in the darkness because this is what I got for tonight. I'm going to start trying to put more videos out, and sometimes that's going to mean decreased quality, but I'm going to try to continue the conversation. So, right now, I'm just out having a drink after my day to go home and go to bed. So, what I've been thinking about is the question of whether or not preppers would be able to sacrifice autonomy for survival. In some situations, you might have to find yourself in a refugee camp if that's where the only food or supplies are available. In some situations, you might have to join a prepper group where it's their way or the highway. And I think that a lot of preppers would have a hard time with this. The majority of preppers are A-type personalities, individuals who are driven, independent, and I think that most preppers would have a very hard time being forced to subject themselves to someone else's rules, even if that person was somebody that they trusted. Everybody has different ways that they want things done, different priorities, different ideas of what the best interests are. And I think that most preppers would have a very difficult time entering a situation where they know that they do not have authority. Like I said, even if they trust the person who they are putting themselves in the hands of. I have in the past and still do plan on doing a video talking about why preppers should get a job in the fast food industry for multiple reasons. And one of those reasons is that I think most preppers are used to being the leader of whatever group they're in, whether that's in their career, in their family group, or whatever. Many preppers are the A-type personality. And I explained at the beginning of the video, this is just going to be a brief chat here. It's dark where I'm at. I'm on the patio of a bar, but this is where I had a minute to make a video, and I'll try to do more later. But we're just having the chat right now, and seeing who shows up. Most of the time, these late chats don't catch a lot of people, but I just wanted to have the brief chat about the subject, and hopefully have time for a higher quality video later. Anyways, the subject here is whether or not preppers would be able to subjugate themselves to the authority of another prepper or somebody else in a survival situation, or how much they are, where the line is for them. Be right back. I don't think that it's always a good thing to put yourself in a situation where you're stuck following somebody else's authority, especially in survival situations. But you're just not going to be able to avoid it in a lot of situations and in a lot of circumstances. And as preppers, I think that it's important to mentally confront different situations that we might find ourselves in, because it's not enough to say I prep so that I don't find myself in that situation, because all kinds of things could come along to push you out of your prepper retreat or whatever. And you just have to confront the fact that you might find yourself in a situation where you have to bite your tongue and listen to someone else, even if you've always been used to the idea that you will be the leader of the group. And some people simply will never be able to do that. There are a lot of circumstances where a lot of preppers would probably rather face their odds in a desolate wilderness than be stuck in a group that was doomed to failure. And I think that is an ugly prospect, but is probably often the smartest case if a group seems doomed to death. But I think that it's a very interesting conversation to be had, and I'm very interested in what people have to say about it in the comments down below. I do plan on this being a very brief live stream chat, more for the purpose of getting the video out there than anything else. But I see that I've got a few people in here, and I'm curious what you guys have to say. So hello, Tinfoil and Chasing Life. How are you guys doing? anyways, that pretty much concludes the thoughts that I had. Mostly, I just wanted to put the thought out there and see what you guys have to say. Those of you who end up watching through the few minutes of this video, uh, what do you tell yourself would be the line of how much autonomy you would sacrifice for for a better shot? Let's say that you find yourself having a really hard time, your supplies are dwindling, and a much larger group with a lot of resources shows up. But in order to join them, you essentially have to commit yourself, but have no authority, no decision making power, and essentially be a pawn in the larger group. Would you be able to do that? And where would the line be for you? What level of the loss of autonomy would be too much? I think it's a very interesting question because it's a situation that a lot of people are going to find themselves in. Most of us are nowhere near being so self-sufficient that we will never find ourselves beholden to anybody else. So I think it's very important to confront that. Ask yourself how you want to react when the day comes that you're forced to not kneel, but not necessarily just be the king of your land and all that kind of stuff. You need to know the middle ground. I'm doing well, chasing life. Just had another day of work and gonna go home and sleep and do it all again. Anyway, I'm curious what you guys have to say. But other than that, I think I might wrap it up pretty soon. I was just planning on doing a short little video here just so everybody can watch it in the morning. I've had a little bit of an equipment failure here, so sometimes these live streams are all I'm going to be able to do between that and my schedule. Hey there, Uncle Al. How you doing? A little later than you're usually up, isn't it, Uncle Al? Don't mind the picture, Uncle Al. I'm sitting outside in the darkness right now. You guys don't need to see my ugly face anyway. You going nuts over there? Yeah, I feel like I'm going nuts sometimes myself. I agree, chasing life. I think that most preppers have thought about it, but I think many preppers are the A-type, leadership type, alpha, whatever, and probably don't like thinking about being under someone else's authority. A lot of preppers are dads who have careers, who are the leader of their household, and who have put their life in such a position where they don't necessarily have people who have an undue amount of authority over them outside of their work life and things like that. Preppers are independent people. And, sometimes you're just going to find yourself where you can't be independent. And I wonder how preppers would respond to such circumstances. I think it's definitely something that they should confront so that they don't find themselves reacting poorly in the moment and putting themselves in a worse situation than somebody who's able to simply keep their head down. You say a lot of puppets are going nuts. Are you referring to yourself and me as puppets? Or, I mean, fair's fair. Anyway, what does everybody else have going on tonight? Or tomorrow? Oh, yes, the mass shooters. I wondered if that's what you meant, but I didn't really want to go there if that's not what you meant. But It does make you wonder what does suddenly make people go over the edge, if it's pure coincidence or if there is something that hits them all at the same time. Yeah, exactly. Chasing life. I'm definitely the kind of person who demands that respect is earned. Uh, and I'm willing to take other people's word on that respect to a certain degree. But at the same time, I have a very somewhat unforgiving view. I'm very analytical, and it's very hard for me to look past some things. So, yeah, once I put myself under someone else's authority, they definitely need to earn it, or I'm very quickly going to lose that loving feeling. Exactly, chasing life, and that's your comment about someone that puts themselves in charge because they decided to be in charge. It is certainly a difficult thing and will be a very tough thing for many people. Uh, what I think you mean there is, um, a lot of people just are going to end up in charge because they have the authority to end up in charge, and that's exactly something that I've meant to talk about in the video. Is um, preppers are A-type personalities, and not all preppers are going to be the most fit leader for their group. Now, for many preppers, they will be because a lot of preppers are pretty dedicated to it. They're A-type personalities, and a lot of preppers are actually very capable. But then there are a lot for whom it's just a fantasy. There are a lot of preppers who are prepping a lot of things, saving a lot of gear, watching all the videos and things like that, but their mind isn't in the right place. And if one of their relatives works for FEMA or is a search and rescue or military, officer or something like that, they may actually have the skill set to be a better leader for a group in an emergency situation than one of us Joe Schmoes who really doesn't have any training or special skill sets that put us ahead of those people. Having the mindset and the frame of mind to really react to the situation properly goes a long way. But I think that a lot of preppers sort of fantasize about the situation, seeing themselves as sort of the leader of the group when really they may not be the best suited person for that. Would a prepper be able to say, to recognize that someone else would be a better leader for the group and say, I have my supplies, I have my skill sets, I have the things that I've been trying to prepare for, but when it comes down to it, this person would be better to lead the group with me as an asset. I think a lot of preppers simply would have too much ego to get past that. Um, and I ask myself whether or not I would. I like to think that if I recognize that someone else was the better leader, then I would be able to, you know, follow their authority. I'm used to a workplace setting where I very quickly lose faith in the people that I work for as shining examples of what a worker could be. And that's fine because it's not necessarily my place to say what they need to be. But in a situation where my life and the life of people that I love is on the line, it would be a pretty important consideration as to whether or not I felt that that person was doing as good a job as I felt I could, or I felt that somebody else present could. So I think that preppers need to hold themselves to a very high standard and also be prepared to recognize if somebody else is more suited for the position that they're in, whether that's the position as leader or whatever have you. Because whenever it comes down to life and death, or just life, because death is inevitable, you can't really mess around with uh, who deserves to be leader, because the person who should be leader, not the person who, by all rights, thinks they should be leader. And that may well mean that I don't end up being leader, but it may also mean that you don't end up leading the group that you thought you were going to lead because things change. And I'd like to see people considering that so that it doesn't bite them in the ass when the day comes. Anyway, I think it might be about time for me to head home. Unless a bunch of people show up and want me to continue this live stream for a while, I'll probably go crash and start my day early tomorrow. Falling asleep, Uncle Al? That's all right. We'll probably wrap it up here. Gotten the message across, and maybe try to get to bed early so I can wake up and do a proper video. Groups and working together will be very important. Someone could lose everything but have a lot of variable skills. Exactly, chasing life. That's why I think community and the ability to work well in a group is important. No matter how good you are, you can always lose everything. And so that's why skill sets and the skills of the people around you are often what you will end up with nothing else. All right, Uncle Al, you have a good night. Thanks for dropping in. Catch you later. Hello, Alexandra, Polish girl. How you doing? Thanks for dropping in. We're actually sort of wrapping up, but you're welcome to hang out and chat for a minute. Good. Are you actually in Poland there? Because it's probably early morning time for you, isn't it? I'm doing well. Just hanging out here in the darkness. It's about 11:40 at night right now, where I'm at. How did you find this stream? Did it just show up in your recommended? I agree with you, chasing life. I do. I think that this is a good topic that deserves more conversation. I expect that some people will be commenting as they watch the beginning part of this video later on, and that will reopen the conversation. Exactly, chasing life. That's a lot of why I wanted to do this. Not necessarily because I thought we would have a long conversation about it right now, but it's nice just to get the thought out there, get the comments coming back from other people, and like I said, get the conversation started so I can do a proper video about it later. So Alexandra, I'm curious why you found me in your recommended. Do you ever watch videos about emergency preparedness or survivalism, like wilderness skills? Because that's largely what my channel is about. I talk about life improvement, health sometimes, and fitness, but largely what we talk about here is emergency preparedness, like being prepared for natural disasters or economic hard times. And often YouTube will give you videos that are related to things that you watch. Oh, you're interested in fitness? Yeah, sometimes I do videos talking about exercises that I like to use. So that's probably why you find yourself here. But largely, I just like to talk about things that people can do to help themselves face challenges that they might encounter later in life. And often that comes around to facing emergency situations. But I try to keep it varied. Yeah, Alexandra, I'm glad you think it's cool. You're welcome to hang around. Love it if you subscribed. Some of the topics that we talk about are pretty outlandish, I guess you could say. We talk about some situations that a lot of people would say are unlikely, like another Great Depression, like an economic depression where most people are unemployed and money is greatly devalued. And just having the skill set and the ability to take care of your family if there's a famine or things like that. A lot of people would say that that's unlikely or sort of silly to worry about, but a lot of people in our community think that that's just something that would be smart to be able to deal with if it happened. And that's what we spend a lot of time talking about. As for what Chasing Life here said, I do plan on making another video or live stream about it. I think people will like this one because I think that a lot of preppers definitely are the A type. I'm going to be the leader of the group kind of personality, but we do have a lot of very rational people here. As for where everyone is, I think that it's probably 2 a.m. for a lot of people on the East Coast. And I think that YouTube is not notifying people in my subscriber base about my live streams lately, which is fine. The video gets out there. So that's all that really matters. Thank you, Chasing Life. I appreciate that. Chasing Life just saying about some of the great conversations and things that you can learn from the people who subscribe to this channel and often comment. Anyways, guys, I think that I'll wrap this up. It's stretching out a little bit long for a video with absolutely no video. But 3 a.m. where Chasing Life is at. Oh, yeah, I guess so. It's almost midnight here. Well, thanks, Alexandra. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. I'm not very good with the pronunciation of many things across the pond. But anyways, folks, I think that I will wrap this up and maybe go try to catch some of that sleep that everyone keeps talking about. Seems like it might be a good idea. Oh, Chasing Life. I think that we probably got what you meant with the typo there. That's all right. Oh, Seven Wonders. Thank you. I thought I saw that somebody was hanging around in the background there, but you go feed those kitties. Definitely can't neglect kittens. They'll eat you if they have to. All right. Well, guys, I think that I'm going to go ahead and head out. Thanks, Alexandra Polish Girl, for dropping in. Glad that you subscribed, and I hope to see you again. Definitely feel free to leave a comment about something that you have questions about or any topics that you would like to see addressed. I'm always happy to hear video subject suggestions from you guys. All right. Well, Alexandra, Seven Wonders and Chasing Life, thank you for being here. Anybody else who's lurking in the background, and to all of the viewers who are rewatching this in the future and actually watched through this whole thing, all 24 minutes of it with no video. Hope you all have a good night and a good morning to Alexandra over there in Poland. Really appreciate you dropping in, and hope you all stay safe out there. All right. Catch you guys later. Have a good one.